want to start big picture with you. A few days ago in the Super Bowl, Bud Light spent tens of millions of dollars to say that it was a natural, pure brand and kind of tar the competition the other way. As somebody who was in there from the beginning, really, of the natural and organic foods industry, does this mean it's victory? This means everyone wants to be, or does it devalue the status of being a natural?
Well, I think it was the key to the Patriots win, but I think it does sort of signify how these things have raised up to a level of awareness that we did never see before. And you saw there was a lot of blowback in the media the next day about who's right and who's wrong and what it means and all that. But it is kind of a proxy for the fact people are interested in this sort of thing, that they would take that sort of time and money for it.
But does it muddle the kind of truer legacy, so to speak, organic brands and say, look, everyone is claiming this?
Well, I mean, it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
But look, to your point, I think what's happened here is that the natural and organic brands have risen to a level. People say commoditized. What I would say is, do you realize what that means to those of us who started in the 70s? It's like, this is a compliment. You know, we've come to a level where people actually know the brands, and it's also the path to democratizing access, to really making these available to many more people. I mean, I will tell you that there is nothing short of a revolution happening in the food marketplace today, and it is not a quiet one. It is disrupting things left and right, all the way up the value chain back into the farmer's field. And for me, to see these brands and to see it show up at the Super Bowl, the biggest media stage of the world, it's kind of an exciting thing.
What's your read more broadly on consumers and the interplay with brands and retailers? Because obviously we have strong wage growth, very low unemployment.
Yeah.
Everyone's seems equipped to spend, but traditional brands, retailers, we're seeing it every day. I mean, Tapestry today, which is fashion, but we also see Hain Celestial getting hurt in the market today because of a sales shortfall.
Well, let's talk about the customer more broadly. From where I sit, the customer is doing pretty well. They're spending, they're pretty strong. I think there was a lot of pessimism at the back half of last year that we heard that was reflected in some of the stock prices, but I think it was overblown, and I think we're going to see a customer that's doing pretty well this year in 2019. Might surprise a little bit to the upside. That being said, traditional retail models are under pressure. Why? Because the customer's spending their dollars in so many different ways and places than they could before. So you used to just open up four walls and open a store. Now the customer has so many more options. So, and we do know that, I think in the United States, I got this number from one of our friends, the mall developers, is we're about 24 square feet per capita in the United States, and that's 2x or 2.5x any other industrialized country. So we have too much space. So there's going to be a winnowing out that's going to happen here. There's going to be winners and losers. We're already seeing that, and so in 2019, I think that continues. But I do think that it's we're in the second half of that. In other words, we're going to see a winding down of the store closures. And we're going to see, what we're actually seeing is the malls beginning to switch over and putting in exciting new uses. And we're seeing retail stores start to open again. And if you want me to keep going or stop?
Sarah, I think, has a question.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to build on that, Walter, because I know you're a keen observer of the retail landscape. Who's doing a good job right now? Who gets it? And what does that say about where the future of retail is going?
Well, it's a great question. I think the future of retail, and we have crossed over this demarcation line. We're not going back to the old retail. It's just not going to happen. And that's the combination of digital and physical. So you're seeing two things. One, you're seeing the digital retailers, the Allbirds, the Warby Parkers come out and say, all right, we're going to open physical stores because we realize our customers want to experience our brand and be with us in that way. And they're bringing new ideas to that presentation of retail, which is pretty exciting. At the same time, you're seeing physical retailers adopt to digital ways. Take a look at Target and how they've employed all the new tools that they have for the customers, in-store app and those sorts of things. You're seeing a combination of these two. And in some cases it's adolescent, in some cases it's more mature. But we are not going back to just the simple form retailer. We're in what I would call new retail, which is the integration, the edge of which is actually in China with a supermarket called Hema from Alibaba, which is simply fantastic. But it's integrated on the back end, on the front end. So I think you're seeing retailers say, we've adopted to the age of Amazon, right? We understand this is how customers want to shop. And we're seeing a whole new generation of businesses and entrepreneurs that say, I'm going to bring the customer this fusion of digital and physical in a way that's really exciting and really compelling. We're not going back to just opening. I mean, I opened my first store in 1978. That's a long time ago. I think I'm giving away my age, but that's just not as easy to do anymore because you have to have the tools to be able to really understand your customer personally. So I think it's pretty exciting to see what's happening. I think those are two digital examples. There's also, I think, on the physical side, Walmart's doing a lot of things, Kroger's doing a lot of things, Whole Foods doing a lot of things to try to integrate these two in a way that gives the customer a very rich experience.
Well, that's sort of where I wanted to ask you next, which is online grocery seems totally up for grabs. in this country. They're all investing. How do you think about who's going to win this one? Can there be a Walmart, a Kroger, and an Amazon Whole Foods, or is it going to be more fragmented when the consumer actually gets there?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we agree that we're somewhere around 3 or 4% penetration on that right now, and we look at other countries that are sort of 8, 9, 10%, we obviously there's a bigger market that continues to unfold. The business model on the last mile is very challenging unless you're connected into a physical store. If you're just out there floating with that, those have not proven to be sustainable. But I think it's clear to me that the customer wants that choice. I actually talked to a lady recently who said she doesn't even like to go to the store anymore. This is foreign to me because I love being in a grocery store. But they want to do it all on their phone, and I didn't realize there was a whole new generation of customers who just choose to do that. So I really think this is going to persist. The customer said they want this choice. What's interesting, I think, in the data is, though, it's very clear that they want both. They're not going to give up physical stores, and that's why you're seeing these digital and physical retailers, they need each other, and they need both parts of that to make the thing actually compelling for the customer. So I think it persists. I think there'll be a shakeout. You're seeing some consolidation already, but the most interesting combinations are where the physical retailer buys the digital, where Target buys Shipt, or Walmart buys Flipkart, or whatever you see around the world, realizing the combination is the most powerful, and that will be the most sustainable from a business model perspective.
Hey, Walter, I'd love to get your thoughts on delivery, specifically of prepared foods. We've been hearing all kinds of different reactions from companies who are trying to deliver coffee via Uber or Grubhub, Mexican food, fast food, what have you. And I wonder, are consumers starting to break down what kinds of foods they think travel well?
It's a really good question, and you could have thrown in. Is that Carl?
Yeah.
You could have thrown in food safety as well, which is on my mind. It was always on my mind as co-CEO of Whole Foods. I was always worried about the food safety, particularly time and temperature over travel. But you take a look at those examples you gave. I mean, Kevin and Dara made that deal where you could get a $5 latte, and it's probably a $5 delivery charge. And at one point, does the customer say that's a great value prop? I don't know. I think we're going to find out. I do think this idea that the customer wants the convenience is here to stay, and they're used to having that option. In some cases, they will choose it. Where that line is, it's hard. It's too early to say exactly where they'll say, that's too expensive, that's not a good deal. But I do think in terms of the food service delivery, Grubhub has had phenomenal growth. And it goes along with this, what's happened is the world has woken up to how exciting food is again. If we kind of went along after World War II for a number of years with this kind of dull drum of production, just regular stuff and the major CPG brands, we've broken into this area now where there's an amazing amount of innovation with young companies and entrepreneurs. This is where the growing edge of the food industry is now. It's not just natural and organic, but it's this innovation around new foods, new food types. 75% of the food we eat is from 12 plants. Somebody's woken up to that and realizing, wow, there's a whole lot of stuff that we can create from stuff we don't even know yet. And the Natural Food Expo, which is the next month in LA, 85,000 people are going to that show. And this is where the energy and the edge of the food industry is right now.
And just speaking of consumer preferences in this world, do you think that the Whole Foods brand has come out of this deal with Amazon okay? The customers have accepted this?
I think so. I think it's, from what I hear from people, and I'm not there operating as I was, but the team is, but I really feel like people are, they're very complimentary of what we were able to accomplish as a team there at the company, and that we did kind of set a stake in the ground that the quality of food matters, it affects your health, and that general principle has landed. And people also really appreciated the store experience. They like coming in, they love their team members, they love the experience of that, and I think that's helped to inspire other companies to say this sort of customer experience really matters. So I think it's enduring, yes. I'm happy about that, obviously.